Welcome to the Gibberfish Podcast.
Well, it may be a bit late to put out one of those end of the year top 10 videos, but we're here to talk Gibberfish, and this time we're doing our best of 2019.
Yep, absolutely. For many, myself included, 2019 might have been a bit of a shite year, but we're here to talk about the good shit that happened, because there was a lot of good shit.
There was the possibility of doing a good and bad episode, but then we realised just how negative we had opinions on stuff.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, I realised I just wanted to rag on Kanye West's new album. And that was the main reason for me doing a worst of 2019 episode.
Worst movie, Kanye West. Worst YouTuber, Kanye
Worst YouTuber, worst live action adaptation of a comic movie. Jesus is King. Who the fuck? Get out of here with that weak shit, son. We ain't here to play. So we basically have a list of categories. I think I sent the list to you, and we added one more category as well. So we're going to go through this one at a time.
I did an extra category as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, just because 2019 was a year where I learned a lot of good, valuable shit. So it gets a bit cheesy and it gets a bit kind of, existential. But one important lesson that you learned from 2019, because I have one very important one.
I got one.
Yeah.
Shall we begin with the sentimental nonsense before
we should get into the philosophical morale shit.
Let's have a sincere moment before we describe.
Before we just make fuck jokes.
Because you've seen what my word of the year is. I don't think we can really follow up with we have to do the sincere stuff first before the word of the year.
Let's get austere before we get gross.
Yeah. So my lesson of the year is that there's a lot of things going on social media where different groups are criticizing other groups and making big, bold, sweeping statements about people, about different groups, about people with different ideas, beliefs, whatever. One thing that I've taken away from this year, and it's the lesson that took me surprisingly a long time to learn, was that it is not about you. It is not about you as an individual.
Yeah.
We're talking about groups of people, criticizing groups of people. Everyone is painting with a very large brush. And it takes a little while to recognise they may be talking about something that might describe you. Like if you listen to a certain podcast, they'll be describing white people. White people get it pretty fucking bad these days.
Yeah.
For understandable reasons. The history's there.
Genuinely was about to say, yeah, the white people get it pretty rough. Like, I'm not fucking white.
Yeah, you whiteys get it bad. But
what's wrong, snowman? You getting it rough?
Oh, our time's hard for you, snowman. But you got to understand that no one is talking about you.
Yeah, no one's getting into the individuals.
Yeah.
Like you said, they're cutting a large swath. They're hitting with a large brush.
They're painting with large brushes. It is not about you. I think that might be the main thing that helps me look at a lot of weird places on the internet where a straight white guy is maybe not the most welcome place or the most welcome person in that place. And you just stand there, read and observe, and you can just leave. Maybe don't mouth off about stuff though.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that's when you find out that some of it might actually be about you.
That's when this massive area just focuses a bit more on you.
It's like when someone makes a little bit of noise in a zombie movie, everything just turns towards the person or the noise source, and you're like, oh shit. Because I've been in that situation before, and it's not pleasant, and it doesn't make for a good day. It can actually really fuck with your day for a long while. Like, you can spend a while thinking about stuff like that. But remember, things on the internet, although they might describe part of what your personality is not about you.
Yeah, definitely. There's a very important lesson there about separating you from these sort of general statements, because especially on Twitter and Facebook, which I've pulled way the fuck back from it over the past 6-7 months. Like, you can read these statements, because I've always been a follower of the SNP, always have been. When you see people bashing the SNP, they're just hitting a large people. They're not necessarily poking your individual characteristics. If you get up in arms about that, okay, just do it in such a manner where you're not just trying to shoot back in the same manner. Like, try and be a bit more controlled about it, and it is a vital message, particularly going forward, because it's not going to stop anytime soon.
Yeah,
you go on Twitter at any point, and there's always these kinds of messages and shit going about. So just learn to distance yourself for this, and you'll get on a bit better.
So what is your lesson for 2019?
My lesson for 2019 was, again, like yourself, one that I learned a bit too late, sort of maybe August, September last year, that it can be best summed up with this phrase, like, just because you're thirsty, don't drink poison. And I used that to describe the fact that I was hanging about with a bunch of toxic people that were making me feel absolutely shit. I would come home after a night out or a house party or something just sitting thinking, I feel very shit. I feel fucking anxious. I feel annoyed. I feel just uneasy. Like at some points I was feeling like dreading going back out. And then at some point within the following couple of months I was like, I don't enjoy hanging about with those guys.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, I have other shit that I could be focusing on. I don't want to spend the time to fix this. Then I realised they're not family. They're friends. Like, there's no shame whatsoever in just cutting out a group of friends. Like, just because you're bored, I mean, I get bored quite easily. I like to go out and do things. Just because I'm bored and maybe a bit lonely doesn't mean I should hang about with toxic people. So that's where the whole, just because you're thirsty, don't drink poison.
Yeah. Don't waste time consuming negativity you don't need to be around.
Exactly. And for me, it was always the thought I could fix this, but the people that I used to hang about with, they've got enough of their own shit to deal with. That maybe they're looking at me and thinking, oh, it'd be cool to see Dom again, but you know what? We've got to go and prep for this, go and prep for that. Maybe it's just time to cut those people loose. And for me, it definitely was, because I was sick of, I was always the stuff guy. It was just, oh, could you bring Cards Against Humanity? Could you bring Super Fight? Could you bring Boss Monster? Oh, you've got Avengers Endgame, bring it along. I was like, dude, that's not, you never want, I always got the impression, because again, like I said, I'm not going back to check it, that dumpster fire is burned out and I've just pushed it away. Like, I'm not dealing with that shit anymore. I never really got back to them and said, did you guys even enjoy hanging about with me? Because that smacks of just, well, why am I even here? Like, yeah. I just thought, you know what, I've devoted enough time and energy very negatively to this thing. I've overthought it. I've got angry about it. I've got anxious about it. And I thought, no, I'm done with that. Like, I'm going in, finishing off third year at uni, going into fourth year, two very pivotal times in the university tenure. I don't really have enough energy to focus on that shit. So, you know, new year, new me counts as pushing at the good shit and focusing on shit that can actually benefit me.
Yeah. There's it sounds like your friends are treating like a rental shop.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm fucking Blockbuster.
Yeah. And Blockbuster went bust for a reason.
Exactly, yeah. And it's all the sense that it's never, could you bring that? Like, dude, it's not, you don't own it. There's no ownership on your part. Yeah. Like, all these things are bought by me. Yeah. They're owned by me. Don't argue legal definitions with me. You will go fucking down. Fucking had enough of that over Christmas. Like, this isn't some kind of hippie commune where we share things. Yeah. What's mine is mine. What yours is yours. You're more than welcome to what you have. Yeah. Just acknowledge that what I have is mine. I've worked like fuck to get it.
Yeah, I would say if that is the resolution, is just bye-bye. Yeah. There's a point where you just have to realise that you don't have a relationship with certain people. Some people just know you and know you have stuff and want that stuff and therefore hang around with you. Yeah. Whereas if you have an actual relationship with someone, there should be something else there that should be keeping things interesting. Like, there should be back and forth. There should be messages, conversations. You should be having more than just a sharing of physical things with someone. You should have like a connection with something else. Yeah,
and there was like I said, part of like, how I define a sort of friendship is just like you said, there should be that give and take. There should be you ragging on each other, like having like taking the quips at each other, but it comes from a place of you're all right. It comes from a place of like friendship and loyalty, love type thing. There was never that. It was always just me getting torn into. Yeah, like literally viciously at one point. Yeah. At one point, I literally stood up to the person that was giving me pelters, and I just fucking looked him straight in the eye and I said, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" One of those snapping points. I was like, "I don't fucking come here. I come here to hang out with you guys because at the time I enjoyed it. You're just fucking ruining it. I don't care if you're just saying, oh, like the excuse was always, I was bullied when I was younger. I don't know how to talk to people. This is my defense mechanism." Like, yeah, but I'm meant to be a friend. You're meant to talk to me how you think you would talk to a friend, not like that.
And it's weird that you have a grown-up saying, well, this is my defense mechanism. No, you're supposed to, you can have that when you're younger.
Yeah, and that grow past it.
Yeah, develop something outside of that. Like, develop a personality, become something more, become more interesting, more engaging, more developed as an individual.
Yeah, and it was just, so I'm glad to be stepping away from that. And even during Hogmanay, New Year's Eve, they invited me to a house party, and I was like, do I want to go to that house party and either sit and talk to one person for the entire night, the one person I would actually sit and talk to if they were actually there, or do I want to just stay home, like sit with the dog, sit with my brother, play fucking Borderlands 3? I was like, I've got beer and whiskey here. Like, I don't need to go out for a drink.
I saw you guys last week, and it wasn't that great. So
Oh no, I've genuinely not hung about
All
once
right.
in September because it was the conscious effort. Like, I'm done with you guys.
Yeah.
And I don't want to devote more time and effort and energy into fixing it because I don't think it'll be worth it for either of us. You've got enough shit going on.
Yeah.
I have enough shit going on. And it's almost a sense of you're not that valuable to me. I get that sounds kind of a high and mighty, like, look down the glasses type thing, but just I guess to me when I look at it, that friendship doesn't really mean that much to me.
If you get nothing out of it, you get no sustenance in any way. You get nothing that fulfills you out of a relationship.
Yeah, there's no reciprocity there.
Yeah. You do just generally need to cut certain things off and manage your time with people better to get more out of your time, because time is very precious. Once you join the workforce, you realize there are,
budgeting is
there's a whole 24 hours a day. Well, yeah, I need to sleep for 6 to 8 of those. I need to work for 8 to 10 of those. And after that, that time's mine. I have 10 hours at best.
Yeah.
Not including travel, not including anything else. I think I need to do, because like, we need to go to the gym. We need to work out. We need to weightlift. We need to get that dealt with. That is part of our being. So that then takes away like an extra hour or two, and then you just start chopping down time, and you realize that there's not a lot there to spend time with. And if it's time wasted, it's a waste of a year.
That's literally time you're not going to get back. And it's all about self-preservation as well, because you could probably a better person than I would look at that and think, how can I fix it? But I was just thinking, you know what, like you just said, I don't have enough time in my day anymore to devote to that situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking I've got uni work to do, I've got coursework in about 4 months time. I'm going to have a fucking dissertation to write. I'm going to have to try and find a diploma place. I'm going to have to find a placement for training. There's so many other things I need to do, so I need to look after me, so that I'm not fucking bald and like malnourished.
Oh.
I mean bald in the sense that my hair's falling out.
Right then.
Not a choice. Like, dude, I'm telling you, the hair's getting thinner.
It's got a little fucking snowman in here. Right?
There's the episode title. It's getting a little fucking snowman in. No, like, in the sense, not bald as a choice, because I'm telling you, I'm getting close to that decision because the hair's getting thinner up top. But bald in the sense that the hair's just falling out involuntarily.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look after yourselves. Don't hang out with toxic people just because you're bored. Don't drink poison just because you're thirsty.
Yeah. So now that we've had sincere...
Yeah, now we've got the morose shit.
I feel we genuinely have shared some life lessons that maybe if you're a bit younger than us, you might not learn. And I feel like these are lessons you should learn as soon as possible to save yourself time and effort and pain.
Yeah. Because
there might be people who are older than us who are like, well, duh.
Yeah,
I'm like,
but well done, Whitey.
well done. Well, you played catch up. It didn't take you that long. But that's the thing. These are lessons that have to be learned. This is not something that someone can teach you. It is something that you could maybe listen to and then start to recognize in your own life and save yourself time in the learning process.
It is that burn that you need to get by touching the fire.
Yes,
you need to learn it that way, and it's not a reflection on you negatively if you think, oh well, I'm not a good friend, so maybe that's why they act that way. No, there might be other shit going on there. Be smart enough to read the situation.
Yeah. But now that we've had the very sincere discussion, my word of the year is cuck.
It's a good word, man. It's a fucking good word.
I
have called many a people a beta cuck this year.
It's a word that originally does start with the sexual habit of having someone else fuck your partner while you watch. And it is its own genre of porn. It is a very weird genre of porn. I can never actually like watch it. It's just so fucking weird. There's also...
I don't think I've ever watched a single cuck video, and I don't want to start now.
And it seems weird and it's very awkward because it's very much to do with the power dynamic of an alpha and a beta, like a submissive person. And it gets real fucking weird when there's mixed race people involved. So you have like a black man having sex with a white woman and her white husband is watching, and it is all about the race. It is super fucking awkward. It's horrific. You're like, please don't bring up
porn
this.
Racist.
Yeah, why did you make porn a race thing? I think it's weird. But it became kind of co-opted about a couple of years ago. 2019 was really the big explosion of like this becoming a mainstream thing, where it was just used to refer to a beta secondary male, typically with someone from the like right wing Republican leaning side of the US politics, referring to a liberal minded person. The idea that someone would just roll over and let the wife take it from, or their partner take it from someone just because they're a weaker male, and it became this whole thing. But as far as an actual word goes, there are several words that you basically can't use but sound great. Cuck is on those like kind of, it's in that sounds great category, but it's more socially acceptable to use it because people just think it means like a weak-minded or weak-willed person.
It's when people don't realise the shit behind it, what it actually means.
Yes. Like, yeah. But yeah, that was my word of the year.
My word of the year was actually, I couldn't think of one specific word, so I found a phrase, and my phrase was "son of a taint."
Right.
Because it is just vulgar enough to let you know that the situation has gone pear-shaped or something has gone awry, but it's not as aggressive as "son of a bitch." Like you hear,
Yeah.
I mean, actually, now that I've said that out loud, it may be more aggressive than "son of a bitch."
Nah, I think that there's something about that word, and there's something about words with a lot of strong consonants, like cuck. Cuck is C-U-C-K.
Yeah.
It's very short, it's very punchy. Bitches is in the same term because it's like one vowel and a lot of consonants that all end with a very certain aggression.
Yeah.
So I think taint flows better.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
I suppose taint, you've got the two sort of hard consonants at the start. Taint.
Yeah, but you have ain't.
Yeah.
You have ain in the middle there.
It's a good word, but yeah, just been using it to note many a shitty situation. Like
It's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good one. Actually comes from Borderlands. Handsome Jack. I think it's in the Telltale game Tales for the Borderlands.
Right.
One of the main characters, he has a robotic eye and a robotic arm, and Handsome Jack, a version of the Handsome Jack AI infects it.
Mm-hmm.
So he starts controlling the main character at some point. And every so often, as he goes near shit that will mess him up, he's son of a taint. Been using that quite a lot.
It's such a weird thing, but it's one of the things you can just pick up on. You're like, this is mine now. I'm taking this.
I'm using son of a taint.
You cannot stop me.
Many have tried.
So my
fuck you, therapist. I'll say what I want.
You son of a taint.
You beta cuck. What you got? Bring your wife in here.
that's the aggression. There it is. Like it was funny, and then it went aggressive, and now everyone's on like this weird kind of Mexican standoff. We're gonna do this. We're gonna actually do this.
He's got one hand pushing his wife back. No one sees my wife.
Right. So game of the year. Mine was Gears 5. Now, admittedly, I did not play a lot of current games this year.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a lot I would have enjoyed because of the way things are progressing with video games. There's a lot of microtransactions. It's a lot of active services. I think I'm trying to remember if the last thing I played that would be modern might actually be from 2018. I think there's a lot of that. I've spent most of this year obsessed with 7 Days to Die, which is an older game from like 2016, and then Destiny 2, which again 2018.
Yeah.
So I haven't played a lot of modern stuff, but when Gears 5 came out, because of my love for the Gears franchise, I really enjoyed this game because it kind of went back to basics with the gameplay.
Yeah.
But presented a new character, which is great for me because I've spent a long time in the Gears universe, and I think it's becoming too much of the Phoenix show, where you just have this family of people who, well, the whole world is big and interesting. It's kind of like Star Wars.
Yeah.
The whole universe of Star Wars is big and interesting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, everything seems to focus around this one family. Yeah. It's the Skywalkers in Star Wars. Yeah. It's the Phoenix family in Gears of War.
It definitely did suffer from that because I've always seen it as the Skywalkers and the Phoenix are 0.1% of the overall universe. Then you have 99.9% of just other cool shit out there.
Yeah.
Like the one aspect of Gears of War that I always wanted them to dive more into was the creation of the Locust. Mm-hmm. They kind of do that a bit in 5. They touch on it a little bit.
They're gradually building more and more of the story to explain what was going on.
Because you see the tubes in Gears of War 2 with the fucking weird half locust, half human creature.
Sirens? No.
Sires.
Sires, yes.
Yeah, and they were fucking horrific looking.
Yeah, there was a weird tonal shift from like action game to, wait, are we in a horror movie right now?
Yeah.
And then you realise, oh, the Gears of War universe is horrific.
It's all horror. I always thought, even from Gears 1, I was like, this is kind of horror based. And I fucking love horror movies. I was hooked from the beginning. But yeah. Still haven't played Gears of War 5.
That's weird. But the game is playing around with new ideas and new concepts, new locations, which is fun. It's a lot of fun to explore more than just that central area of the Gears universe. And you get out into meeting different characters and people from before before E-Day, before Emergence Day. That's a lot of fun as well. And it's just nice to have a change that kind of doesn't completely reimagine the entire universe, just reinforces stuff that was there, gives you more context and a broader appeal, and then gives you new characters to experience it with. Because the one thing I'd say is, I wish we got a game from the Gears franchise that had nothing to do with what will ultimately end the war. I want a side mission. I want an entire game that's a side thing, like a battle for survival. Like, I think of talk about like Tales of the Borderlands. Telltale Games did a series of games about The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
At this point, The Walking Dead was kind of stagnating. It was starting to begin to go downhill, and it's not the unironic zombie that it is right now, where it's just kind of stumbling along, not doing very much.
Yeah.
But to begin with, Telltale Games made a story about a little girl during the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. How does a little girl fight off an army of the undead that is going to tear her limb from limb? Well, she doesn't. She hides, she runs, she escapes.
Yeah, there's a really fucking brutal part in season 1 of The Walking Dead. I think the little girl's name is Clementine.
Yes, Clementine.
Because I don't know why, I always remember the hat. I'm pretty sure it has her name or something on it.
And she is one of the most iconic characters, like up there with Rick and whatever he's Carl.
And there's some fucking brutal moments in that. She at one point, I think it's very early into the game. I might be remembering this wrong. Again, feel free to say, Dom, you piece of shit, you didn't get this right. I'm pretty sure at one point there's a zombie, there's someone that she's trying to get to, or there's someone in front of her that's trying to keep her safe. I'm pretty sure she just feeds the zombie him or her and just runs. I'm just thinking, that is fucking good. Like
that's good storytelling.
Yeah, it's a breath of fresh air in the sense that we're getting away from this hero complex where everyone has to save everyone. Like, no, if you were in that situation,
let's be honest,
fucking push him.
Yeah,
you're going to push the guy and get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, and I think that Gears does enough. Gears 5 did enough to step away from traditional Gears of War to make itself its own unique game, and at the same time remain true to the core kind of idea, like the whole brotherhood aspect of everything going on. And I thought Kate was a good character. I really liked having someone that's not a Phoenix to play with.
Yeah.
I wish we could have someone that is not going to be ultimately there on the final push to end the war between the locusts and humans. So
I think that would be pretty cool. And it was cool to see some of the other characters take more of a front and center, like Kate and Faz, Raul Cooley's character. Just see more of these new characters come up, and the Phoenixes take a backseat because Marcus is in there.
Yeah,
and I think he's going to become the new Hoffman type role in future games. But it was just cool to see. Okay, there's a war going on in the background, but Kate's got her own shit to worry about. She's trying to find her mother, who I could have swore died in Gears of War 4. But
I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah, please don't.
We're gonna leave that for you to discover.
We'll find that. Yeah, but when you see the necklace at the end of Gears of War 4, you think, oh shit, she's involved in this.
Yes.
And even in Gears 4, I think Laura Bailey voices Kate.
Yes.
She fucking knocked it out of the park. A lot of really good voice actors in Gears of War. The only thing I will say that was weird about Gears of War 5 was the fucking Terminator, Sarah Connor,
the tie-ins
the
to
Halo
the
Reach characters.
Weird, yeah.
What the
but
fuck?
The actual storyline itself is very good, and as a fan of the Gears universe, you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to when you finish it and you go, oh shit, here we go. Yeah. So what was your game of 2019?
Game of 2019. Well, surprise absolutely no one. It was Resident Evil 2 Remake. Because it is one game where I know the universe well. I've played Gears of War 2. I have played Gears of War 2. I've also played Resident Evil 2 on GameCube, PlayStation 2. I even played it on fucking PC, the horrible ass PC port. I know this game inside and out. I know the universe very well. I know the characters very well. To take the old game and update it in the way that the new game has, not quite building on top of it, but just taking it and doing something different. Still same story, same outcomes, still canon, but just doing it in a different way.
Just refining it.
Yeah. And just adding new shit on it, which is fucking brilliant. And the additional DLC that you had with the Ghost Survivors, which gave you what if scenarios. What if Kendo, the gun maker that makes all the guns for the RPD, what if he survived?
No.
And what if one of the members of Hunk's team, one of the Umbrella Special Units guys, what if he survived? And it gives you all this cool shit. What if the mayor's daughter didn't get gutted by Chief Irons and, suggestively raped? Because if you read some of Chief Irons' diaries, he likes to get a bit handsy with the corpses and stuff that he guts. There's a really, really disgusting bit about him jerking off to a tiger. He's on the taxidermy, he cuts the tiger open and he said, oh, I nearly came and I'm covered in blood and guts. This is the fucking life. And I am so glad in every version of Resident Evil 2 that I've played, I have killed you mercilessly. Fuck you, you prick. And they really, really just harp on that. And even in Resident Evil 2 in 1998, they let you know that he might have been a rapist. They just confirm it in Resident Evil 2 that this guy's out raping. Because he's on the Umbrella payroll, he's on the police, he's got police chief money, so he he's high on this fucking status thing. He's been using that to parlay, and he's been using the orphanage to bring in kids with their families and send them to Umbrella to for test subjects. That's why when you go into the sewers underneath the orphanage, there's all these weird mutated
babies,
giant lumps of genetic material that are in the story told you, or it tells you that these are the children from the orphanage. Oh, and you're just sitting there as Claire or Leon, just going, "I don't want to shoot you. I know what you are. You're
so sorry.
You're little Timmy. Your parents. We found your birth parents. By the way, I shot them too.
They were okay people, but they did try and eat me.
One of them ripped my neck out. But I could go on about Resident Evil 2 for much fucking longer. But yeah, it was fucking fantastic. I'm still playing it right now. They're bringing out a version on the Switch, and of fucking course I'm going to buy that. And they're also releasing Resident Evil 3 remake.
Is the two on the Switch going to be the remaster as well?
Yes, it's going to be the remake. But I've also heard that they're releasing the classic trilogy 1, 2, and 3 original on Switch as well, which is a good move.
Okay.
Because Capcom are just going, yeah, sure, put everything on the Switch. It sells.
Yeah.
Because I seen
and we need money.
No, Nintendo don't need money. Nintendo.
Capcom need money.
Yeah, Capcom need money. No, Capcom don't need money either.
All right.
Devil May Cry made them close to $1 billion.
Oh shit! I forgot that they actually have had a pretty decent year this year.
Street Fighter 5 Championship Edition made them a shit ton of money because of the characters that they put in. The game's not even. Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition made them money because they put in new characters, people like that. They finally refined the game and made it playable. The new version of Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition that comes out in February, that's going to make them more money because they put more fan favourite characters on there. The thing that's making them infinite amounts of fucking money though is Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter World Iceborne.
I forgot that's their game. Shit.
Because people just keep buying it, and it is a fucking phenomenal game.
Right.
But I'd play it on Xbox because the PS4 version is kind of slow. So play it on
you've told me about that. You said there was like horrific frame rate drops.
Yeah.
Oh.
The I don't know what it is, but on PS4 there seems to be a lot of slowdown, a lot of frame rate drops, especially when you're hunting more than one monster. But I've played it on PC and I have played it on Xbox and runs perfectly.
I'm hoping it's an optimization issue and not like your PS4 is just shagged.
It could be, but no. I think in my room's just a magnet for dust, so every so often I just need to take the compressed air and clean out the fucking thing.
Yeah.
I might be overdue for a clean out just now, but yeah. We'll see how well it plays.
So, on to favourite TV show this year. And this is a hard one for me to pick.
It's very difficult for me.
Because I went back and it turns out you can download your entire viewing history on Netflix, which just makes you sad because you just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
It never ends.
Every episode is its own entry, and you're like, oh my god, how many times have I rewatched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? And honestly, rewatches It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and BoJack Horseman. Jesus Christ, I need to. Someone help me. Please, send help.
I actually need to start watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia because I've been quoting it. All of Danny DeVito's lines quite frequently. Like someone was, I was out at the rugby club and somebody was freaking out, and I just instinctively went, "Can I offer you an egg in this troubling time?"
It's a great show. I really like. I think you'll enjoy it once you start watching it. Like, oh, I get it. This is why everyone's in on it.
Community, I have tried.
Yeah, you tried.
I'm not a fan.
If you ain't getting it, you ain't getting it. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll bring the DVDs back. I appreciate you loaning me them, but I can't. I think it may be Joe McHale.
Really?
Not that big a fan of Joe McHale.
He's very hit or miss, and for me, it's a massive hit because he's just a dick, and I find that funny. But yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I went back to my list and just went through, and then I was expecting the main pick of the show to be anime, and then this year Funimation did a thing where it's like, put out your top 5 anime list of this year of things you watched this year that you really enjoyed, as part of like a social network like media campaign thing. And I was like, okay, what did I enjoy? Like, went back and looked at my list because I have my anime list account where I can see everything I've watched this year for anime on different platforms, and I just keep cataloging it as I watch it. And I was looking at all this stuff, I'm like, I had a good movie that I really enjoyed this year, but at the same time, TV shows, I haven't really rated anything that highly. So I went back to Netflix and was like, okay, what did I watch on Netflix that I loved? And there's a lot of stuff, again, like I loved watching Black Spot, but I'm not going back there. Unless there's Black Spot's the French one. It's a French horror show about this village in like the middle of the Black Forest in France that no one's really sure whether or not things are actually happening, or if it's all an illusion, or if it's all demons. And you just have these characters cycling through which one of these 3 options it is during a police murder investigation. You're like, I love this, but at the same time, like, I'm not
Not
coming
gonna
back
watch it
to
again.
rewatch season 1 and 2.
Yeah.
When season 3 comes out, I'm just going to say, I hope there's like a prequel thing. It was like a reminder, like last time on Black Spot. I've enjoyed it.
Last time on Black Spot.
And like stuff like even Glow. I'm not going back to watch Glow again. I'm just going to pick it back up when the next season
Yeah,
starts.
because Glow season 3 was a real. Like, season 3, it started off strong.
Yeah.
The stuff with what the fuck's Mark Mann's character called?
Just call him Mark Maron's character. People know who you're talking about. The show organizer,
Something
the
Sylvia?
producer. No.
Who cares? Mark Mann's character, the stuff with him was great. Him reconnecting with his daughter. Then just
Drop off.
it just dropped off. What was her name? Betty Gilpin's character still was fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, dude, can she calm down? Like, and the stuff with Alison Brie. It's like, again, can we do something different with these characters? You've got some really good character moments, but the individual character stories are just fucking insane.
Yeah.
They make no fucking sense.
So I kept looking at like what I've watched and what I really enjoyed, and it came down to Big Mouth season 3 and BoJack Horseman season 6 in brackets part 1. And I mean, Big Mouth's improved a lot over the years, but I'm giving it to BoJack because that is they're making these great individual episodes for characters and giving them like great arcs, and it's great writing.
Yeah.
And I want to see BoJack become healthier and his journey through rehab and health and just becoming a better person overall, and just admitting he's growing older, he has faults, he has to genuinely make amends for these things before he dies, which may actually be at the end of the show. No one will be surprised if he's dead at the end of the show.
Yeah.
But the way that they have made these great individual episodes that have been gradually building towards the this what will be a payoff that has been like 5 years in the making at this point is insane. That this is like a feat of writing. And when people talk about BoJack being one of the biggest comedies of the year, or biggest, or the most, I think it's referred to as one of the most important comedies of the decade, I'm like, I think you're wrong. I really can't fault you on that one. So season 6 part 1 was probably my show for 2019.
Again, like yourself, I watched quite a bit of TV, a lot of rewatches in there, rewatching Stranger Things, and Stranger Things season 3 almost took it for me.
Oh yeah, that was on my list as well, yeah.
Again, Stranger Things has never really had a misstep. There were 3 solid seasons, a couple of bad episodes here or there, but ultimately 3 fucking strong as hell seasons. I was originally going to give it to Good Omens, but again, I've watched Good Omens twice now. I don't think I'm going to go back anytime soon for the third rewatch.
Yeah.
Again, really strong characters. You've got David Tennant as Crowley, fucking knocks it out of the park. Michael Sheen as Aziraphale, the angel. They just fucking play these roles expertly. It was almost like they were written for them. And there's other supporting cast in there. There's Jack Whitehall, who plays a inept computer engineer. Every time he touches a computer, it shuts down immediately, and you find out that that's linked to the whole apocalypse thing.
Right.
Which fucking, like, Terry Pratchett has this way of writing seemingly nonsensical things and just linking them back into the plot at the end of the game.
And when you get there, you're like, shit, that was good.
Yeah, he uses. You're not really bothered about spoilers, but spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Good Omens yet. And to be fair, why haven't you seen Good Omens yet? It's been on Prime for long enough. But the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are responding to the coming of the Antichrist, and they want to basically destroy the planet so that he can rule over what's left. And to do that, instead of just, the traditional way of just war, fire, they find a nuclear airbase and just start launching nukes.
Right.
And then Jack Whitehall's character, because he's completely inept to the computer and has this ability to destroy them, he just pushes enter on the computer system and the whole thing shuts down, and some guy comes over the monitor and just goes, "Sir, we have just averted launching all of our nuclear missiles. What happened? We don't know." Jack Whitehall's just sitting there going, "See, I break everything I touch." And like, no, you did your job. That's good.
Well, you did good this time.
Well done.
Thank you.
And then there's the actress's name is Adria Arjona, Spanish actress. I'd bang her off everyone. But she's another good character. She is trying to find the Antichrist and put him back on the path of good, but she's doing it in accordance with a book of prophecies that are incredibly accurate, written by her 8 times great grandmother.
Right.
And she's following every step of her journey because of this. And there's a lot of really good characters in that. But it is 6 episodes, and there's no rewatchability to it because the 6 episodes, that's it.
Right.
It was one book that he's never going to do anything more with it. Neil Gaiman has even said we could have continued with it. Amazon gave us the option to, but I thought, even if Terry was still alive, Terry Pratchett would not have wanted a season 2. He would have just left it at that. Because his whole thing was he always wanted Good Omens to become a movie or a TV show before he died. And Neil Gaiman said he would do that if he couldn't. And he did. And continuing to do a Good Omens type show without Terry Pratchett just felt disingenuous. He said this on an interview you probably find it on YouTube. But despite all those good points, my favourite TV show of 2019 goes to The Witcher.
Ooh.
Purely because there's a couple. The only problem I had with The Witcher, apart from the pacing of it, in the sense that the pacing was all over the place. At one point, you're in the past with Geralt before Ciri leaves Sintra. Next thing you know, you're following Ciri as she goes through the woods, meeting the wood elves and shit like that. Mm-hmm. It's kind of all over the place. The only other problem I had with it was there's a character in there called Triss Merigold.
Right.
She's you've seen The Witcher.
I've seen the first half of the first episode. I'm going to watch the rest of it. I don't mind spoilers. Don't worry about that.
You'll see her when she's in the show. She doesn't get called Triss until much later, but you'll see her. She's got brown curly hair.
Right.
And again, Triss Merigold in the games and in the books, a fucking phenomenal character. She's another good counterpart to Geralt, and that's the good thing about The Witcher is Geralt is very much a solo one-man wolf pack.
Yeah.
Everyone else is a good counter to him. Even Jaskier, the bard, who was called Dandelion in the games,
right,
can understand why they changed the name.
Yeah.
They want it to be taken seriously. They can't have him called Dandelion. He's a really good counter to Geralt, because Geralt was very stern and sullen and just kind of...
He's a one-man murder machine.
I want to get this done. I want to get my coin. I want to go drink some ale. But Jaskier's just going, dude, you're a fucking... I could make thousands off you. Just let me chronicle your journey. And he's upbeat and he's very boisterous and shit like that. And then you've got the other characters like Yennefer of Vengerberg. She's almost the same as Geralt, but she's just more, I'm going to do it my way. Fuck everyone else that gets in the way.
Right.
Triss Merigold, she's a bit like Yennefer in the sense that with the magic and she's out for herself, but she's more positive. Mm. She's willing to help the little person. But bringing it back to Triss Merigold, in the games, she is white-skinned with red hair. Very, very red hair. Talking that couch colour red hair.
Right.
In the series... really not bothered with the fact they made her a black character, but there's nothing to invoke the original character there. With Yennefer, you've got the jet black hair, you've got the... Because Yennefer in the games and in the books was always described as this beautiful fucking statuesque woman. Mm-hmm. And they've got a pretty good looking actress to play her in the series. And they've got the purple eyes and they've got the hair, and it's like, okay, you're staying true to that character. Yennefer looks like Yennefer. Mm-hmm. Triss looks nothing like Triss. But she's not in it enough for people to notice, really.
Right.
She still evokes the character to an extent.
If she's a good actress,
it's just visually, I would have liked to have seen more of a callback to Triss from the games.
Yeah.
But apart from that, Henry Cavill fucking kills it as Geralt of Rivia.
Yeah.
I was worried originally about him doing the American accent, but no, he sticks with the English accent, but he just puts the rasp on it like the games. Mm. Which I just think works fucking perfectly. And the creatures and stuff that he fights and all the other visual effects that are in there, how the potions affect him as well is fucking epic.
Right, I haven't seen him use a potion yet, but I will say the creatures. I saw the fight at the start where he's fighting the lake monster thing. Yeah. That was like, okay, they're taking this seriously. Yeah. They're not fucking around with the CGI on this one.
This had a budget, and the cool thing about it was Andrzej Sapkowski, the guy who writes the books, he was in on every episode. Like when he first seen Geralt, he just went, that's him. Like that is Geralt of Rivia when he seen Henry Cavill in the full get-up.
Now that's interesting, because
which is cool when you get the guy who writes the books come in and go, that's him, man.
Especially when that guy is a bit of a dick about the games.
Yeah.
He
was particular about the games.
When it came to like the conversation around what made The Witcher a popular series and why it was getting a Netflix adaptation, and why this thing has been in the works in Hollywood for a couple of years now. And it's always been this thing. The author's like, no, my books are what make it popular. It's like, dude, no one has read your books.
Yeah,
I didn't know this was a book until you told me it was a book.
Yeah.
Right now, like, I'm sorry, like the Red Square games, I think it is. That make
CD Projekt Red.
CD Projekt Red. Those games are the reason people know this franchise, and they're great games, and they're big adaptations of your books. But I gotta say, mate, like, you're being a bit of a dick about this.
Yeah.
So to have him come and say something nice about the Netflix show, pretty good PR for the show. Very nice.
All the interviews that you see with him are just going, no, I looked at the scripts, I gave them my blessing, I've seen the characters, and he's very happy with it. One of the best parts of it, though, I should say that the potions that he takes, they are basically poison to humans, but because of his mutations, they give him boosts.
Right.
And buffs and shit like that. But if he takes too many of them, that's when they start becoming poison to them. And that's why you see him with the blacked out eyes and the veins and stuff popping. That's in the games they call it his toxicity, blood toxicity.
Yeah.
If he takes more of these potions, he basically just kills himself from the inside out.
You can overdose.
Yeah, pretty much. Easy way to die. But the best part of the show, excuse me, is the fight choreography.
Yeah.
It is just like watching someone play the game. How Geralt almost dances through combat and how he makes it look so fucking easy.
Yeah.
When he's just swinging these long swords about. It's fucking brilliant. And the magic and stuff that he has, because he can cast all these weird signs. In the game, one of them puts a magic area around him that causes incorporeal creatures to become tangible.
Yeah.
So he can hit them, and he obviously can cast fire. He can do a big force push thing.
Yeah.
I think he can give himself armor and stuff like that, but he's got all these different signs. They make them look really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And I think they save the cool one at the end when he just casts a big fireball and so on. But no, I would wholeheartedly recommend Netflix's The Witcher. If you're a fan of the games, you will fucking love it. If you're a fan of the books, you will love it as well, because there's enough from what you recognise with Ciri, Geralt, Triss, Yennefer, all the other characters that you will love. You'll get into the show, but there's enough new stuff and enough of a different storyline from what you've read that you will be hooked instantly. Like I said, pacing wise, it does jump a bit too much, but when you realise that Geralt and Ciri's paths are basically diverging, because Geralt is trying to get to where Ciri is, but Ciri is trying to get away from where Geralt's getting to.
Right.
And when you realise that, you think, oh right, that does make sense, because Geralt is trying to get to Sintra at the time of the Nilfgaardians attacking.
Right.
But as the Nilfgaardians are attacking, Ciri's just like, my house is on fire, yeet. Get the fuck out of there.
The one criticism I've seen is that the elves aren't naked. That's it. Apparently, the elves should be naked.
The elves should be butt naked. But they had to sell it. I mean, it's already done 18. They may as well have just had naked elf.
Yeah. Give us the elf titties.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of titty on show as well. There's a lot of titty.
Well, based on the cosplays I've seen, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
So, movie of the year. This will be a surprise to absolutely no one when I say Avengers Endgame. And this is one that you picked as well. And
I almost picked that one.
We had the same
different
thing going on. We're like, I feel like we need to recommend something else, because all we've done is suck off this movie for like 6 months.
But there's nothing that's beating it in terms of spectacle. Yeah. Storytelling, it expects you to fill in the blanks at some points.
I was looking at this and thinking, I can't believe this came out in April this year.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's ridiculous. Phenomenal movie. Utterly phenomenal movie.
I've never been in a room where about 200 people have all just so willingly suspended disbelief in the fact that you're watching a movie and you're watching... It feels like you're watching like a history lesson about, oh, this actually happened. Of course it didn't happen. Like, you feel that engaged with this. And, I mean, this is, I say, 10 years in the making at this point. 10, 12, 15, maybe even years in the making from the start of Iron Man 1.
Yeah, Iron Man 1 was 2009.
Can't be that far off, I think, at this point. 10 years in the making. Yeah. And this is... It's insane that this works so well, and I love it as a movie. And then you have it as like a pop culture moment, and it indicates something big has happened to the point where people are willing to sit through. I mean, look at the length of movies now compared to what they were 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, The Lord of the Rings did a lot to push the length of a movie, and it made things more acceptable to be 2.5 hours long. And then you've got director's cuts making things 4 hours long.
Yeah. If you watch them all back to back, you may as well clear a weekend, because you have...
We did. You do have to clean a weekend. 12 hours from start to finish, and that's if you skip the 40 minutes of DVD credits.
If you skip the 4 endings of Return of the King.
Jesus Christ. just end it once. That's fine. Any one of these is fine, please.
Yeah, just pick one.
Please, Mr. Jackson.
Still remember when I went to see Return of the King, someone stood up in front of me at the first ending and just went, oh fuck, it's still going. Sat back down. And he was there with his son, and his son's just like, yeah, this is cool, Dan. That's cool. I drank a lot of cola. I need piss.
But this, the fact that we are putting this much money into these films, and when you realise that this year Disney apparently has earned something like 70% of the US total box office.
Yes, it is ridiculous.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah, the mouse is making some power plays.
It's more to do with I'm worried that this thing will collapse, and I was trying to avoid the memory of what's called like the big studios collapse in the 1940s to 1960s, and that was just because there was a legal case, and they said, or there was a lawsuit about big studios monopolizing, and they realized that like several big institutions were rising. There were 5 big studios, and they basically shut them all and broke them all up, and it imploded cinema for a long time. It took a long time for cinema to recover. That's what it's like referred to from like the case was in the 1940s. They fixed it after the 1960s.
Jesus.
And I was like, could you imagine if that happened during the process of this of these films being made? The idea that you would just have to stop the Avengers Endgame. Like that plot line would have to just stop and be on hold for like 5-10 years while a legal battle ensued.
Yeah.
Like this is it was kind of nervous like watching these films be made. Like, what if somebody dies? Because right now, I mean, we just finished like Star Wars. Like Star Wars just wrapped up.
Yeah.
And we lost Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
And it has a noticeable impact on the movie.
Yeah.
What if that had happened to the Avengers? But
Yep.
all of this kind of went off without a hitch.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was they got rid of Ed Norton, and then they got rid of the guy who plays. He would have went on to play War Machine.
Oh shit.
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard. Yeah.
Like those two are the only major casting changes that I can think of.
Because he made some shitty comments. He was like, "Oh, you going to find a better actor than me? Do it." Huh? Same with Ed Norton. They were like, "Oh, you going to find someone better than me? Fucking do it."
You think
we
you
got
can
Don
have,
Cheadle
we
next
got Don,
door.
We got Don Cheadle and Mark Ruffalo. Oops.
Later, boys.
Have fun now. It's rare to think that you got to be part of that.
Yeah, it was
Genuine privilege to be a part of that moment in movie history.
Yeah, it was genuinely something that could have went horribly wrong, but it's just the stars aligned. Kevin Feige did the right things and said, right, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to bring Spider-Man in, we're going to fight like fuck to get these in. Everything just fell into place with a lot of work, I'm guessing, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I imagine between licensing and stuff like that, with even to get the Hulk in a movie, because Universal have a fucking death grip on the Hulk license. They want to do something with it, but Marvel are just, no, we fucking need him for this.
we have Avengers thing for him.
He wants to be in Thor, motherfucker. Put him in Thor.
It was impressive, and as a movie, it's a good movie.
Oh yeah,
Damn good movie. I think there's maybe going to be a better direct or DVD cut to explain some bits and pieces.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of deleted scenes.
Yeah.
Like there's a deleted scene where it shows, because the soul gem is a weird fucking thing. It takes the souls, but it stores them in some kind of weird pocket dimension within the stone itself.
Right.
So I think there was going to be some kind of scene with all the heroes trapped inside the soul gem, just, coming to grips with the fact that they are dead, which could have been pretty powerful, but maybe just a bit too much for the 2.5 hour movie that it already was.
See, I don't mind the way the movie handled it, where it's like those people just weren't there. They just weren't conscious. There was just nothing. There was just a void. I'm actually okay with that way of looking at things, because it does make it a bit weird to have explain. No, these people existed in the weird pocket dimension for 2.5 years, or however
5 years or something, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it's about
5 years.
But yeah, like
Because there was a lot of 12 in Spider-Man Far From Home. There was a lot of 12-year-olds that came back 17 years old. Now I'm still in whatever grade I was in 5 years ago.
So yeah, your movie of the year.
My movie of the year.
I stole Avengers from you.
It was almost going to be Endgame, but there was one other comic book movie that I have watched more often since buying it on Blu-ray that came out around about the same time as Avengers Endgame, and that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Something about this movie, the way it's drawn, the art style and the animation on the movie itself is fucking stunning. It looks like you're watching a comic book. All the weird paneling, and if there's ever energy being shot, you can see the Kirby dots going through there.
Yeah.
For those who don't know what the Kirby dots are just these black dots within beams to show that this was a beam of energy. Revolutionary style back in the day, and it's still used to this day.
Yeah.
But you've got all the other cool aspects of the design and the animation and the style of the film, but then you've got the characters within the movie itself. Originally, this was going to be about Peter Parker, and it was shelved. Sony looked at it and went, "No, we've got enough Peter Parker." And then it took a lot of convincing for the director, who's just like, "No, we can make it about Peter." And someone, I think one of the producers in the movie, just said, "Why don't we make it about Miles Morales?" No one knows who Miles Morales is. Let's do something for him. And they're like, shit, we can do that. We can have Peter in there as a kind of the older, kind of washed out Spider-Man, and we can have other Spider people in there. But let's make it about Miles Morales. Let's put him at the forefront.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what makes Spider-Verse a good film, because he's not immediately Spider-Man. He has to learn how to be Spider-Man. He doesn't get the black and red costume immediately. He gets a crappy Halloween costume.
Yeah.
He's not immediately gifted with the swinging. He has to learn. He crashes into a tree a couple times.
The origin story of like a superhero is always great. We're a little worn out on it right now because we've had 1,000 of them from Marvel.
Yeah.
But you get a chance to see the Spider-Man story, but then Uncle Ben doesn't have to die.
Yeah. You see, seeing the Spider-Man origins, or seeing a Spider-Man origin story where Spider-Man's parents are alive.
Yeah.
One of them's a cop who has to deal with Spider-Man. That's a pretty funny dynamic. At the end of it, you see Miles Morales going up to his father saying, "Oh, thank you for protecting the city." And he's putting on this weird voice because he doesn't want it to know it's him.
Yeah.
And you just get this really funny moment of this cop going, "I don't like you. I don't like what you do, but you protect this city, so I'm going to be okay." Then you see Spider-Man run up and hug him, and he's like, "Oh shit. Well, okay, we're doing this now."
Okay.
Just pats him on the head like, "Go away."
go away, weird spider boy.
Yeah.
I think might be my son.
You're about the same height as my son. And then there's the other supporting characters in there.
Hey, you smell like what we had for dinner tonight.
Wait,
What's up with that?
you got meatloaf in your finger. What the fuck is that? My wife made meatloaf. Did you steal my wife's meatloaf? I'm arresting you, Spider-Man. But you've got Spider-Man Noir voiced by Nicolas Cage. You've got Spider-Gwen, who something Steinfeld voiced her. Fucking knocks it out of the park. You've got a very famous American comedian, Lily Tomlin, playing Aunt May.
Right.
It took me a while to realise. I recognised that voice, and I googled it. I was like, holy shit, that's Lily Tomlin. Anyone who watched comedy back in the 80s and 90s, she was royalty. She was up there with Joan Rivers in terms of female comedians.
Yeah.
You're like, okay. And now you've got her for the sequel going, I want to be a spider person. I've read the comic books. Aunt May gets spider powers. Make me Spider-Man, motherfuckers.
Make me Spider-Gran.
No, it's Spider-Man, they call her.
Oh, right.
And then you've got John Mulaney as Spider-Ham. And it's just
I forgot
fucking...
there's a pig.
who plays a cartoon character fucking expertly, because his voice is kind of higher anyway.
Yeah.
So when you put that in a cartoon character's voice, like, yeah, that's pretty fucking awesome. Like John Mulaney knocks it apart, and you've got the Japanese anime Spider-Man that goes into her name's Penny Parker. She goes into a Gundam type spider thing.
Right.
That's linked. There's the thing that controls it is a spider that she has a psychic connection with.
All right.
So there's all these weird chaotic elements in this movie that make it fucking awesome. And you've got my favourite part of the movie. You've got the walking wardrobe, Wilson Fisk. It's just this black shape with tiny hands and feet and this little fucking head. And you see him in the final fight with Miles and Wilson Fisk at the end of it. He's running like he is just tiny. He's throwing things about, and it's fucking awesome. I'd highly recommend Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
It is one of those. It's like I really did mean to watch that this year.
Yeah.
It really should have.
It shouldn't work. It shouldn't be as good as it is, but
Yeah.
all the chaotic elements come together and they make a really good film.
So, now to the boring part. Books.
Okay.
I read one book that wasn't related to work this year.
I read 2 non-legal textbooks this year.
Reading's hard, kids. Okay, audiobooks.
Reading's boring, especially when you've got to read like 200-300 pages every couple of weeks.
Yeah, and if you have to read for something else, reading for fun becomes kind of a side.
Yeah. It
You've
becomes
gotta really
psychopathic.
You've got to be really passionate, and it's at the point where if you've ever been on a dating app, you know that reading books is a personality trait.
Yeah.
It is a way that people describe themselves, like, I read books, and you understand that inherently that means that they are someone who can devote the time and the mental attention to just reading in a world full of digital screens. So book reading is hard, kids.
Yeah. It takes some time, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
You learn some cool shit and you see some cool shit.
Or in my case, you laugh at woke people.
Oh God, I know what this is going to be.
It's Tanya McGrath's
Oh,
woke.
fuck you. Fuck
It's
you.
so funny.
You know what? I hate Titanium McGrath.
There's
There's easier ways to keep yourself entertained, motherfuckers. Titanium McGrath, you a snow hole.
Tanya McGrath is a parody of
You bitch.
the. I can't disagree with that one.
Straight ass clown, motherfucker.
She is a parody of these ultra liberal, ultra progressive people, to the point where she is then kind of inverting back around on herself. If you follow me on Twitter, you see I retweet most of her stuff because I find it hilarious and just enjoying this weird kind of enjoying the paradox of how far she can take these ideas, and the book is just that. It is just it's more of a long written thought essay than the tweets, which are a little bit to 280 characters, something like that. When you have the full text version, it does feel like something you could read on the internet, but someone's taking time to write it down as a joke in this long form version. And I've just been enjoying it. I just take it everywhere I go and just whenever I have 5 minutes, just pop it out, read a quick chapter, very small book, throw it back in my bag, and I'm done. Yep. And it's been a good chuckle. There's some points where I can't read this in public. I'm gonna fucking laugh. I'm gonna laugh way too hard. And someone's gonna ask him like, it's fine. Someone's just comparing like working in Applebee or working in a coffee shop to being like a Somalian refugee. It's fine.
You wouldn't understand.
It's fine. It's a joke.
Let's go.
That's the problem. If you try and explain the joke, it's horrific. Because I tried to explain something that happened with her online to my dad, and I end up finding like a bunch of weird like wormhole stuff that like once you're in the rabbit hole, you just find the next thing and the next thing.
I had to dig your way out.
And before I knew it, I was watching a sex ed video for people with mental disabilities. Anyway, what was your favourite book of 2019?
I don't think we can just run past that one. Why were you watching that video?
Why were you not watching the video? It's amazing.
You show me where pee-pee go.
It is on it in a weird way, I think, because you remember our sex education class from high school.
Yeah, we had the lesbian PE teacher.
We had one. No, he wasn't the person who wrote it. We the other PE teacher, same size of person. But
I think we might have been in different PSE classes.
Maybe. Actually, yeah,
we were. We had the lesbian PE teacher missed out.
Don't think you should have named her there.
Fuck you. She said She said no. Leave it in. Leave it in, motherfucker. Leave it in. She's not going to watch
for
this
no reason. But no,
she's too busy killing people, killing dreams.
In my high school, we actually just for our class, it was legitimately just we were in the PSE class, the Personal Social Education Development, whatever class.
Yeah.
And they just took us into the room, put on the A to Z of sex.
And Johnny Condom.
And that was it. And the best part of it is, as I still remember, E is for erection, because it is literally a drawing of a guy walking past a pool, seeing a girl in a bikini, getting a boner, and then jumping into the water. That was it. That was the only sex education class I got in high school. Brilliant. It's amazing I haven't had a kid yet.
I have very bad memories of that class, only because of... I mean, we lucked out in terms of attractive girls. The dovetail thong was quite... The whale tail thong was quite the good thing. I was sitting next to a really good friend of mine who's since fucking matured out of this boobies and butts stage. Yeah. He borrowed one of my pens one day and he was sticking it, he had it just hanging at the end of his mouth. And you could tell it was my pen because it had my fucking name on it. It had DJ Anderson on it. I was like, okay, who's that? There's only one, not a Dom J Anderson on it, because I remember it had Dom written on it. And he had it dangling at the end of his mouth. He leaned forward as the girl in front of him leaned forward, and my pen fell out of his mouth and into her arse. And she fished the pen out and just looked down at me and flung it back at me. It's like, you're fucking disgusting. I'm telling the teacher, I was like, it wasn't my pen. It is my pen, but I wasn't using it.
Not my pen, technically.
Yeah, I've got fucking bad memories of that.
Remember when we were talking about books?
Talking about books?
Yeah, we're doing the book segment.
Oh yeah, we're doing
books.
2019. No, this is therapy. This is therapy. No, I have two favorite books, because one of them's a fairly serious book that was just, it was good to see a glimpse behind there. The other one's a fucking strange book. Right. But the strange book was The Disaster Artist by Greg Sestero.
Why have I heard of this before?
Because it's the book about the making of The Room with Tommy Wiseau. Oh,
right. Yes.
All the shit that you've heard about Tommy Wiseau being a weird guy, 100% true. Yeah. Greg Sestero basically says whenever they went out to eat, he would just throw fistfuls of 50s at people. He had a bottomless pit of money. At one point, he said he went up to an ATM with Tommy Wiseau, and he'd just seen 8 figures. Not 8 figures. Million would be 7.
Yes.
Yeah, he would see 7 figures plus. Just a bottomless pit of money. He had so much fucking money, and they would take money out of the account to pay directors, supervisors, assistant directors, that kind of shit. And in the movie, Seth Rogen's character, goes up and says, "Oh, I'm here to lift this money from Mr. Wiseau's account." And he goes, "Oh, we call that account the gold mine." And he said, "No shit." And then he takes all the different checks and he's like, "Oh, this is the checks for the different people." And it's like, "Oh, there's more in the account. Don't worry about it." Tommy was always just a bottomless pit of money. And all the weird eccentricities that we do. When they were filming the movie, they were not allowed air conditioning. So they're in the middle of this roasting hot studio because apparently when you're angry, you put out a better performance. And yeah, it just got fucking nuts. Like the guy, one of the other guys in the movie, this is in the book anyway, I don't think it's really in the movie, The Disaster Artist.
Yeah.
He had Tommy Wiseau by the throat and he was ready to fucking kill him because like we've been here for 8 hours recording one scene and it is fucking 100 degrees in this room. Sort your shit out. Time after time, people threatened to walk out of this thing, all because Tommy Wiseau was weird. He had to shoot it in HD and VHS quality because that's what he wanted to do. That's how a good movie was to him.
Right.
And every weird thing that you've heard of Tommy Wiseau, 100% true. I would highly recommend The Disaster Artist because it is both funny and terrifying and strange as hell at the same time. You can get it for buttons on Amazon.
Yeah.
I think I got my copy free with the movie, which is weird that we get The Disaster Artist Blu-ray and The Disaster Artist book.
Not really. I mean, I guess if you're interested, it's kind of like, here's the full version.
Yeah, here's the full version without shit cut out.
Here's the version.
Here's the full version that doesn't have Seth Rogen's laughing at.
Oh no!
But yeah, James Franco, oddly good at playing Tommy Wiseau in the movie.
He's a very good actor.
Yeah, really good actor.
I saw him in
Shit ton of PhDs as well. Technically, it's Dr. James Franco. We should be calling him.
I saw him in. He's in Six Underground. He's the driver at the start.
Yeah,
and I love that movie. But the start of it, he is fucking amazing. He actually looks like a street racing junkie.
yeah.
But yeah.
So my second book was a book called My Name's Doddy. It was about Doddy Weir, one of my fucking sporting heroes. The guy was a phenomenal rugby player, captained the Lions tour. The Scottish rugby player, played. I can't remember where he played in Scotland, but he made a name for himself in Newcastle, playing for the Newcastle Falcons. He was recently diagnosed with motor neuron disease. So the book was his way of raising money for the MND Foundation and the My Name's Doddy Foundation. And the book itself was just a really, really, really fascinating look into his life and how, as a farmer down in, is it Galashiels?
Yeah.
Down in the borders anyway. He's like, why do I need to go play professional rugby? I make shit tons of money here and I'm happy doing what I'm doing here. It's all about the people, like his friends around him, just going, no, you've got a gift. You need to go and use this gift. Like, you need to go and play rugby. You can make a career out of this. And it did. And that's sort of the first 3 quarters of the book. The last quarter of the book is him talking about the future, what he's going to do next. Like, he hopes to find a cure for motor neuron disease, but it's like, if I don't, this. And it's just a lot of really heartfelt, really touching moments in there. And if you're even a slight bit of a rugby fan, I recommend that you read this book. Even if you're not, you're going to get a really good story out of it.
Yeah.
So I'd highly recommend My Name's Doddy. So I did read 2 books this year, and it is recorded.
We have it on record that Dom can read.
Yes.
I cannot.
I cannot count. I have 4 fingers up.
Now, onto the real books. Books with pictures.
Books with pictures.
Comic books.
Titty books.
Mine was a titty book, pretty much.
Fucking hell. I know I remember what your book is, and this is filth. It's utter
It
filth.
is absolute filth. I read for my comic book of the year I read a couple, and mostly I'm reading manga, so it's Japanese comic books, basically the same thing, right? Chinese cartoons, basically. And I read Monster Musume, which is a
Filth.
Filth, yeah. I will explain it this way. Clips of the uncensored TV show appear on Pornhub and have a very high like to dislike ratio. And from non-weebs to just people who just bumped into finding this weird anime porn stuff, and we were just like, okay, I'm down for this. I'm like, this is just really weird. The entire show is based on, and the comic book is that humans and monsters have lived on the same world for so long, but they now need to kind of integrate into society. So while various like government organizations work on the legal side of things, they have monsters live as kind of like foreign exchange students with people. The only problem is the monsters are really horny and people are legally not allowed to fuck them. That is the entire premise of the show, and just the like raw like frustration of the guy as he's like harassed by about a harem of I think we're up to 8 monster women at this point. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but a variety of scantily clad monster women try and seduce him especially on a full moon, because apparently that's when the real hormones kick in and they get super horny.
That's where those monster ladies just become horny as fuck.
And they just want to bang him, and he can't, because otherwise he goes to jail. So that is the entire premise of the show and the manga. But I love the show. It's so fucking silly because of, I just described the plot to you. Is that not a silly plot?
Yeah, it's fucking weird, man.
But they have the manga is just like several leaps and bounds ahead. I don't think there'll be a season 2 of the show, so the manga was the only way to enjoy it. And just, it gets so much fucking worse, but at the same time so much better. Like, I just finished the arc where they go to like the snake's homeland, and they're having literally just a mating festival. It is that level of just like absolute cheese, where it's all the different snake tribes all have a champion that's the man that's the most virile man they know, and he will attempt to like breed with the other people, or they will like try and seduce each other's man to try and get them away from the. It's a sex contest. I don't know what the fuck this show is about anymore. But it's hilarious. I just, every time it comes up, I'm like, this is so ridiculous. I'm never gonna read it again. Another page, another page, another page. But it's just about these weird chaotic relationships, and just I love the show so much that when I read the comic book, I'm like, this is just as stupid, and I love it just as much.
It's so dumb. I want to stop, but I can't.
What was your comic book of the year?
Again, because I can't pick, I've got 2 comic books. One that's ongoing, one that's finished run.
Right.
Second book, I think I've probably talked about before, but it was compiled this year. It was an ongoing series, but the finished product came out this year.
Right.
And that was The Dark Knight's Metal.
All right.
That was the DC crossover book explaining just basically the why of Batman.
Okay.
Because Batman's always just think he goes up, he fights gods, he fights superpowered beings, but he never dies. Even when Darkseid tried to fight him, he came back.
Right.
What is Batman being prepared for? What is Batman being guarded by, or what is he being guarded against?
Right.
And you basically find out that Batman, through because he's basically just this conduit of sort of dark negative energy that people from the dark multiverse can tap into, they're basically just flooding him full of the titular the metals, these different kind of mystical metal type things, and they're basically using him as a gateway for from the dark multiverse through into the multiverse itself,
right?
The sort of the usable multiverse, because the dark multiverse, it's shit. It's basically dying. Its natural resources are being used up, and all the dark denizens are trying to burst their way through and take over something new, so that obviously they don't die. But they need a champion, or they need a gateway. So they've basically been pumping Batman through all these different kinds of metals, and they use regularly occurring elements from other DC comics. There's this thing called nth metal, which is basically their version of vibranium, adamantium, this super strong, super light, multi-use material. If Batman comes into contact with that basically makes him almost indestructible.
Right.
And all these different elements work on it. And basically, once the Dark Multiverse portal is open and they can basically come to Earth proper, they basically find out that Batman has influenced the Dark Multiverse to the set where there is a Jokerized Batman, there's Batman who has all the powers of Superman, there's Batman who's taken over the body of the Flash.
Oh, I think I've read some of this, yeah.
Yeah, and it's fucking nuts. It is absolutely insane, but the visuals are awesome, and the story itself, for as hokey as it is, it's fucking great.
Yeah.
Highly recommend Dark Knight's Metal. Not just for the metal fucking imagery, but for the actual storyline itself.
Is this the one where, as the various dark Batman come through, all the Justice League can think is, let's go send the Batman.
Yeah.
Let's go send the Justice League hero that Batman has clearly killed and begun to personify. And
let's send Cyborg to fight evil Cyborg Batman. Let's send Wonder Woman to fight evil.
And they spend
Batman, Wonder Woman.
a whole chapter like getting the shit kicked out of them before they go,
let's
my
swap
God,
dance partners.
what if everyone just goes one to the left and then they kick the shit out of the evil Batman and then they win? It's like, oh my God, who could have seen that coming? Oh my God, are you people this fucking dense?
It is pretty dumb. But the final fight with the Batman fighting the Batman Who Laughs with Joker helping him.
Yeah.
Every so often, like you'll see Batman swing a punch at the Batman Who Laughs, and then the next panel just punch Joker for no reason. That's fucking great.
Sorry, force of habit.
This is sorry, you're my mortal enemy. Fuck you. But the second book that I want to talk about is called the Doomsday Clock, and that is still ongoing. You can get an issue. You can get a volume 1, which is the first 6 issues. The last 6 issues are just wrapping up now, and this is basically what happens when Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen, because DC now owns Watchmen.
Oh yeah.
They've officially got all the rights for that, and Alan Moore, the original creator of Watchmen, is happy for them to continue the series. But this is what happens when you've got Dr. Manhattan, a being of infinite curiosity, infinite power, but no human emotion, wants to see how shit works. He wants to destroy the universe to rebuild it because he can. But for some strange reason, he can't see beyond Superman. Whenever he tries to see the why of the universe, it stops at Superman. So he's basically just he's pulling threads, trying to figure out what the hell all this shit is about. But still, the one constant is Superman, Clark Kent, and his son, Jonathan Kent. He cannot see past these two people. And then he's bringing people back from the dead for no apparent reason, because he wants Batman to stay the fuck away. He brings back his father, Thomas Wayne, but not the Thomas Wayne from Batman's universe, Thomas Wayne from the Flashpoint universe, where Thomas Wayne is Batman. But he's a sort of dark version of Batman that uses guns.
Right.
So then Batman has to fight a mirror image of himself, and to get Superman to try and maybe influence him in a different direction, he brings back Jor-El, his Kryptonian father.
Yeah.
And just does that, and it's really fucking interesting to take it from this viewpoint of Dr. Manhattan, of having no empathy, no human emotion, and just see what happens when he just starts doing shit.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Manhattan is overpowered to shit. He can click at people and their entire race dies.
He is God in a certain sense, and it's a warning. His entire character is a warning about the dangers of science and about this untapped potential,
unchecked power,
with no human emotion, with no empathy for another person.
Really, because the other characters are in there as well. You've got the other Watchmen characters that have been put in there. Rorschach, I think he's been brought back as well. Rorschach might be in a couple of issues at the very start, and you've got the comedian, you've got Night Owl, all these other characters in there. They're warning of what happens with Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah. Like, but you don't know what you're fucking with.
Yeah.
Seriously, this guy's a fucking
This
lunatic.
guy is. Be lucky that he's a good guy, but nothing can satiate his curiosity. He just wants to see things, and it's cool to see Dr. Manhattan, who was neutral in Watchmen, just become almost an out-and-out villain.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know he's a villain, because he's just, I want to see what your heart has a weird beat to it. Oh, I can see your heart. I've just ripped it out of your chest. Oh, that's why it doesn't work. And he just throws it back in.
And he can just put you back in and just keep you running as you were.
Yeah, he can rip someone's brain out their head and then put it back in your head, and you wouldn't even remember it. He makes in the HBO series Watchmen. Yeah. He makes his own race of people because he wanted to create life.
He wanted to see what that would do. Because for him, the universe is a petri dish. In a weird way, he just gets to fuck around in it.
And because he's got no emotion, he has nothing to tether him to, nothing to make him think about a conclusion, not a conclusion, nothing to make him think about a consequence. Yeah. He's just going to keep doing stuff like that. Yeah. And Doomsday Clock, at least the first 6 issues, it does that fucking expertly. It shows you that, fair enough, Superman's not as strong as him, but because he has human emotion, he's the better character, or he's the good guy. But take Superman's type powers, amplify them, then remove the emotion, then you have Dr. Manhattan. Yeah. So there's this kind of opposite image thing to it as well.
Yeah. I think there's that way, like, Dr. Manhattan's a weird character, but he's very good for telling these weird metaphysical stories. Like, it's not about what's happening, because at any point you can just go, I don't think so, and just reset everything and just click his fingers. He is God. Yeah.
He is the most overpowered character in DC canon right now. Yeah. And I really cannot wait for the second volume of Doomsday Clock to come out, because I will binge read that shit.
So for top album of the year, I came up with, I had a good time listening to music this year. I said I've pushed myself out there further and further and further just to see what I could find, and I've found some weird and interesting shit. But the one that I keep coming back to, and it's more about the number of playthroughs that might actually shock you, Cold Rain is a band that I found out about because they did the opening for Fire Force. They did Mayday with a cameo from another guy from another Japanese metal band, but their album, The Side Effects. Mm-hmm. I found out about this band about 10 weeks ago, maybe. I think that might be in the start of Fire Force, or when they used their intro for the first time. I legitimately might have played the album 40 times.
Jesus.
I have an obsessive brain with certain things like this, and once I get something, I just need to kind of scratch the itch until it's gone. Yeah. This one has its hooks in bad, because I'm still I'm going to the gym after this. I'm going to listen to Cold Rain. I will put money down on it right now. But
it's always the thing, though, when you find a good record, you just want to keep listening to it, because you think, that was fucking the same with a good movie. Just how many times have you watched a really, really good movie and thought, I'm going to watch it again, put it back to the start, I'm going to do it right all over again.
And I like this is in a weird way, like most of my music is stuff I would have listened to 10, 15 years ago. Cold Rain's a bit softer, but most of the stuff is actually the same bands I'm listening to for 10, 15 years. And when I think about the big bands that I love so much, I end up thinking, oh man, I'm really glad I got those last 10 years with that band.
Yeah.
Or even like with Slipknot, 20 years I think. You've got to be close to 20 at this point. But with Cold Rain, I'm like, I can't wait for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
you find a band that you want to stick with them, and that's rare, especially for me. I've never found a band recently and thought, you know what, I'm really looking forward to the next decade or so of music.
Yeah.
There's always been, I found a band with one good record, the next record's not really great. Sort of Light the Torch, Devil You Know, it's like, first album was a fucking banger, second album is...
Yeah, and there's a lot of bands that this year have come out with albums that I'm like, you guys have got this. And Slipknot was actually really close because We Are Not Your Kind is an absolute beast of an album.
Yeah.
There's stuff in there that I'm like, I can't believe you guys actually made this. This is surreal that you're this far into your career and still making great music. Although by the sounds of it, it's near the end for Slipknot. Based on a couple of interviews, which is weird. Wait, Slipknot do interviews now? Surely they just carve it on a pig and then throw it out the side of a hotel balcony. Like that's what the Slipknot do.
It's when you get Corey Taylor saying stuff like, whatever form Slipknot takes, whether it's new band members or like we step back and let a new version of Slipknot rise out, whatever version it takes, that'll be it.
Yeah,
it's sad to think that a band that we still to this day love, and that got us in through the door of metal when we were younger.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember listening to Slipknot when I was in single digits.
Yeah. I just think of what terrifies me is Jim Root's interview where he said, I think it'd be quite cool if Slipknot just disappeared. Just randomly, just like we don't tell anyone, we release our last album, we do our last tour, and then we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And just as soon as it comes up, just blank face and walk out the room. Now, that'd be scary. That would be a very good artistic statement, but at the same time, that'd be scary. I wouldn't enjoy that as much. But yeah, this is I'd say everyone give the Side Effects a go. There's tracks now like Mayday, the one from Fireforce. I want to be in a crowd when that kicks off. It is gonna be a fucking riot. Then you've got like, there's a track in there after one of my favorite tracks called The Side Effects, which is just fantastic. Like it's one of those, Side Effects is a great layered track, which is what I really enjoy because I like to go back and listen to stuff and find new parts of the music that weren't there before, or I missed them the first time I heard the song.
Yeah.
That's immediately followed by January 1st, which might be the saddest song that I don't want to find out the meaning of. Because if I find out what actually caused someone to write that song, I'm going to be in pieces for like a week. I'm like, who hurt? I just think right now, I'm okay with not knowing what hurt this man. I'm assuming right now it's a death of a loved one.
Yeah.
Possibly a suicide. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. I just can't find any way to confirm it. Because he doesn't want to talk about it. But he made one of the great sad songs. Yeah. Of like metal or rock or whatever.
One of the proper, I'm guessing it's a proper ballad.
It's a farewell. It really, in a certain way, it's not a love song. It's just, it's a letter written to a friend that isn't there anymore. It's, I can't speak to you to say goodbye. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to make this song, and I make this song. And he says in the song, I'm making this song so that someone else knows that this is not a unique feeling. This is how everyone feels when you lose someone and you love them this much. And I'm listening to it going, oh my God, you beautiful bastard, why did you hurt me like this?
I just want to listen to metal, what the hell is this?
And it comes after like a great absolute banger of like a real like foot stomping metal track, or foot stomping rock track.
Yeah.
And it's a great flip, like a total 180. And I mean, there's stuff in there like there's a song called Breathe that is honestly, you feel like a shonen protagonist. You feel like you're about to go fight Frieza for the first time. Like, I'm ready to do anything. Like,
you can just feel the wind blowing, the petals and shit swirling around you.
You just feel cherry blossoms in there. You're like, yes.
You feel yourself grabbing for a sword that you know is not there.
It's amazing. The whole album just, it takes you on several different rides, and by the end of it, I think that's what I love about it. Is it's this weird, layered, nuanced approach to music that I haven't heard anything like that in a while, and just really enjoyed myself.
I think the best way someone described certain types of Japanese metal and rock to me is just, when you hear it, you just want to run like you're in an anime opening. Like you just want to, for no apparent reason, you just get up and think,
do the Naruto run.
Like it's just not even that. You just run for no reason. You want to stand next to a tree and look up.
Yeah, you want to
just trope.
You want a trope? It's great. I love it, and I've handed the album off to several people and been like, give it a go, and they will come back with, yeah, I don't know like why I enjoy this, but I just fucking love it. And
If it's on Spotify, I'll give it a go.
oh, it's up there. It's on YouTube Music as well if you're interested in
They keep trying to get me with that 1 month trial, but I keep saying fuck off.
Remind me some about YouTube Music when we're doing the main episode. But
Okay.
But yeah, what was your album of the year?
My album of the year, because I haven't really found new music that I thought I could sit and listen to this. I went back to the In Flames back catalogue and I found that they released an album in 2019 called I the Mask, and they have, for my money anyway, returned to form, because they did a couple other records that I thought were still good, but it was different. There was a change, but in this one it was just, we're going to go back to Sounds of a Playground Fading. What the fuck's the name of that record? It's going to come at me. Take This Life, that whatever record that song was on, they've went back to that kind of heavier style. It's like, this is the In Flames that I fucking know and love.
Yeah.
And there's one track in particular that I can't fucking remember, and I'm going to keep vamping until my Spotify loads and I can find out what the goddamn name of the song is.
I feel like YouTube Music would have loaded by now.
Fuck you. What the hell is it called? I the Mask. I Am Above is the name of the song.
I Am Above.
And oddly enough, it was used in the VGAs to show off a D&D game. So a lot of people have seen it. But yeah, just a really, really good fucking record. The only problem with it, though, is that I know I will never be able to get to see this record being played live, because In Flames and a lot of other Swedish metal bands don't come to Scotland anymore. Soilwork, In Flames, Arch Enemy. Well, Arch Enemy aren't really Swedish, but Lacuna Coil, they don't come to Scotland anymore. If I want to go and see them, I'm going to have to go to England. I don't want to go to England.
You might as well go to Sweden. It's much
Might as
more
well go to
fun.
fucking Sweden. It'll be more fun. I'd rather go to Gothenburg.
I'm surprised you've not made that pilgrimage.
I want to.
Yeah.
Our buddy Argic, he went there and I was jealous as shit. He was flying over there. He was there for 8 hours and I was like, dude, if I was there for 8 hours, there's at least 12 places I'd want to go to. One of which being where I know the In Flames guys are, because they own a restaurant called 2112. So I'd go there for a burger and just play, hi, you're Bjorn Gillotti, you play the guitar for In Flames. I'd just be sitting there. I mean,
You're like, this is the third guy today that's done this. Would you
no,
fuck
dude,
off?
I look like the lead singer from In Flames. Like, Google Anders Frieden. That guy looks like me.
Anders Frieden.
Anders Frieden. Like, the guy looks like me. Obviously a bit skinnier because he takes care of himself, and I'm a bag of dust.
Anders Frieden is not showing up with an image. That was a hat showed up.
A hat.
Yeah. And the first guy is almost literally the opposite of you. It's a guy with dreads.
No, look at
Find a more recent image.
find a more recent picture. And he does look quite a bit like me.
Yeah,
I don't have
I
the
do have a
fucking-
bit more of a like. You've got the same beard. It's quite impressive, actually. Did you style the beard after him?
Maybe.
Oh, God damn it!
No, I genuinely, the beard is this long because I haven't shaved.
So that's your album of the year then.
Yeah, like see there, looks a bit like me.
Yeah. He's a bit more ginger though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, mate.
No, the beard is getting ginger on one side, but yeah, I'd recommend In Flames. Even if this new album wasn't good, I still recommend In Flames. But as I've said, I think for the past couple of episodes, if you have any suggestions for new metal or new music in general, just send them on via the Twitter at Gibberpush.
Yeah.
And fucking let me know, because my Spotify's stagnating. My YouTube playlists are stagnating.
Stagnation does feel horrific when it comes to because you're consuming art. Like you want to,
Yeah,
you
you
love
want
to
to get
think
new
you're
stuff.
constantly consuming new art, and then you
Genuine.
realize, oh wait, I've listened to the same thing for like the last 5 years.
We Are Not Your Kind and In Flames' new record, I the Mask, are the two newest albums on my Spotify. I think before that, the newest album I have is a Ghost record from 2018. I was fucking annoyed. A friend of mine went to see Ghost without me, and he came out. We were at Pathfinder the day after at his flat, and he's like, "Oh, dude, you missed a Ghost show." And I went, "Ghosts were in town?" He went, "Oh, did I not tell you?" I went, "No, you fucking didn't." Dude, I feel betrayed.
It's hard to keep track of like what bands are
Yeah.
in town.
I
on
would have
certain
fucking
days.
loved to have seen Ghosts, because they would have put on a show.
Yeah. So our last category was that's one that you recommended, and it was YouTube video of the year.
Yep.
So,
YouTube channel as well, if you want to open it up there, because
actually, if you want to talk about YouTube channels, I did find out that Tommy Wiseau has a YouTube channel,
yep,
and it's Shitpost Central, and it's
Shitpost
amazing.
Central. His Christmas message genuinely gave me nightmares. It was
it-
awful.
It feels like you're walking with Tommy Wiseau through various LSD trips about his life, and most of it is just him shitposting stuff from the room. You know,
Yeah.
wait, can you do this? Can we do this? Who's in charge of
He
this?
owns everything about the room.
I've got a video I would recommend. I'm not sure about a channel yet.
Yeah.
Maybe get back to you on that one. So the video.
See, I have a channel, but I found out I started watching them more in 2019.
Yeah.
In fact, no, I never even started watching them in 2019. I started watching them in 2018. So, fuck the YouTube channel.
Right. So YouTube video.
YouTube video.
I'm a big fan of the YouTuber Super Eye Patch Wolf.
Yep.
His video on The Undertaker is phenomenal.
I genuinely thought if we're doing YouTube video, I will bet a bottle of your choice that you were going to choose Full Force by iDubbbz.
It was close. It really...
I genuinely thought, right, if we're doing YouTube video, Colin's picking Full Force.
It's Full Force is a lot of fun. And it is
It's a lot of fun, but then you realise that he's just picking on a guy with autism.
It's not picking on him though. See, when iDubbbz wants to pick on someone, you'll know it.
Yeah, I've never
I
watched
feel
this
like,
stuff before.
I feel like Full Force is a sincere, like it's a guy who is a snarky shithead who is looking at just these weird people and saying, I want to talk to these people. I need to go, like I can't leave this alone. I need to go do something about these people and just go find out what's going on.
Yeah.
But that's not him being mean. He actually has one of his videos pulled off of YouTube because they updated their terms of service about bullying and harassment. And even though they have allowances for written comedy or satire, his video on a YouTuber named Leafy, because Leafy was a commentary YouTuber who made fun of people's appearances. So iDubbbz did it back to show him what it's like, saying he didn't have a chin.
Didn't he do a video about Onision?
Onision?
Yeah.
I don't think he's done one on Onision. He probably should though. I mean, at that point,
I think the FBI might be chapping some doors if you like.
he is.
Yeah, statute of limitations ain't up on this yet, dog. You can't do this shit.
But the the iDubbbz video on Leafy was just like him harassing him about the chin, and it was funny because it's satire what Leafy does. YouTube was like, don't think so, and removed the video. But no, Full Force was going to be on there. It was a contender. But the Undertaker video was a lot of fun because it shows you that Super Eye Patch Wolf, although it is a ridiculous name for a great YouTube channel, has a superpower. And that is that he can convince you to check out something that you might not give a shit about just because he is so passionate about it. He's been a fan of wrestling for ages, and I found him through his anime videos. And he would just go into these descriptions of why he enjoys certain shows, and I'm like, I feel the same way about certain shows, so I've now watched stuff that he recommends through his YouTube channel, and again, I love him.
Yeah.
I love those videos, I love what he's recommended, I love what I've walked away from his channel with, and I'm never going to get into professional wrestling. We're all done with it. Like, for some reason, it trends on Twitter every Sunday, but we're all done with it. Like, I don't know who's still engaged.
I don't think that's even slightly true, dog. I think dog might be on my word of 2019. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I've said the word dog more than anything. I even type it now.
Yeah, you type a lot. You call me dog a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I just kind of ignore it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, word of 2019 is dog.
Okay, 90s to the back, Dom. But
I live in the 90s, motherfucker. I have a wallet chain.
You do. I forget about that. But he did a video as a joke, kind of as a wink to April Fools. He said, look, you're going to be filled with a bunch of fake videos today. I'm just going to talk about wrestling because I enjoy wrestling in a weird kind of meta sense where we all know it's fake, but that doesn't mean it can't be fun to watch. And he talks about how much he loves wrestling, and he did that video about 18 months before he made this one. And then he comes out this year with a video on The Undertaker and just telling the story of this guy wrestling for 30 years almost at the point when he finishes his career as The Undertaker, and showing how it started as a gimmick, how The Undertaker reinvents himself. Talks about Mark Calloway, the guy who portrayed The Undertaker as a person, knowing what little we do know about him because he's always in character as The Undertaker, and just going on through this saga of like all these brutal wrestling matches he has, and how this guy became a force of nature because his character was a force of nature that was unstoppable. Calloway committed to the bit for 30 years, and you just have, by the end of it, the remains of a person that has been beaten to hell and back for 30 years in wrestling matches. And although some of the hits are fake, there's some stuff you can't fake in wrestling. Like, at a certain point, you are picking up a guy and throwing him into the ground, even if the ground has a little bit of spring and give to it. You are still taking a toll on a body. And if you listen to like Joe Rogan's interview with Jake the Snake. That guy has been through the fucking wars because
Jake the Snake, he took some fucking hits, man. He was
wrestlers take some hits and they take a lot of damage. I mean, I recently this week I think Big Show showed up at like a WrestleMania or something like that, and I was like, oh my god, 30 years of wrestling, this guy's still fucking alive and like 6'10" or something like that.
Yeah, talking about wrestling injuries, the worst wrestling injury that I've ever heard of. I think I told you about it. Hulk Hogan.
Oh, he's
lost
like
3 inches of height
his spine
because of his
lifting
spine
Andre
damage.
the Giant. Like holy fuck,
dude! Like, fuck putting yourself through that. Incidentally, Big Show plays D&D.
Hilarious.
I'm pretty sure. As big as you think he is, I'm pretty sure he plays like a gnome or some shit. I was like, that's what I fucking want to see, man.
That and the thing is, like, some of these guys are putting themselves through the fucking wars to make entertainment.
I mean, you've seen what's his name, Brock Lesnar. You've seen the amount of shit that he's put through. He eventually just tapped it and said, "Nah, I'm taking steroids. Fuck this.
I need this to stay alive because I'm breaking down as I wrestle, as I fight, as I do these things, and the passion these guys have for their craft transfers into passion from the fans, which is what Super Eye Patch will, as a fan, is great at conveying to you as an outsider. And you walk away thinking, you know what? Even if I don't watch a wrestling match, I will always respect the story of The Undertaker. The fact this thing goes on for 30 years and how they choose to end it is fantastic. I recommend it. It's 28-minute video. And I'd recommend watching just all of his stuff on the wrestling, like the April Fool's video he did in 2018 is just a great kind of introduction. It's kind of like this is the intro to Wrestling 101, and then you have the the official class on The Undertaker. And he's got an obsession with the story of like a Canadian / Japanese wrestling duo called the Golden Lovers that is just fantastic. Again, it's one of the things of like he has so much passion for this weird story, and when he tells you it, you immediately feel that passion, and you kind of want to check it out. But then remember it's wrestling, so you're not going to bother. Yeah. So, what was your YouTube video?
My YouTube video of 2019 actually, as I just found out, wasn't actually released in 2019. So I was originally going to say it was Flex Tape 2 by JonTron, but which was just it was a fucking shit show. The fact that he even got Phil Swift out there, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But
when was that? Was that late 2018?
That was December 1st, 2018.
Not far off the mark.
Just googled it there.
The original Flex Tape video is still an internet classic.
Yeah, I think it's still getting the views, still racking up the views. But my favourite video from 2019, again, because that was I originally thought I had it locked down, but off the back of my head, I'll probably have to give it to the Thanksgiving episode of Retro Replay.
Yeah.
Purely because it was one of those episodes where they had fun, but there was a good strong message behind it. Because
just for those who don't know, what is Retro Replay?
Retro Replay is two of the biggest names, if not the biggest names in voice acting right now, being Troy Baker, who you've heard in fucking everything, and Nolan North, who has been in everything else.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's how they describe themselves. Troy Baker introduced himself as, I've been in everything. And what they do is they play games, like old school games, hence the name Retro Replay. Each episode's between half an hour and 45 minutes. I think they're kind of going more towards the 45-minute mark now. But they'll play a bit of an old school game and they'll shoot the shit. It usually gets quite stupid or it gets quite heavy. Some of the better moments are where it gets quite heavy because they talk about the strain of going all over the place. How they, at one point in 2019, they were in South Africa for a week. Then they went to London. Then they went to Manchester. Then they went back up to London. Then they had 2 weeks off. Then they had to come to Scotland. Then about a week later from Scotland, they had to go back to America. So they just bounce about and they're talking about they have to work within these weeks as well. So there's a lot of iPad recording sessions that they just set up their laptops, get a decent-ish mic and just try and record. And like I said, some of the heavier ones are really good because you think, oh, right, maybe it's not that easy. But these guys are making a fucking fortune out of it and they seem to be having fun doing it. They can still laugh and joke their way through it. But the funnier stuff, some of the stories that they tell from their past experiences, like how Troy Baker did a shit ton of live action acting when he was in shitty B movies with people that he really doesn't fucking like, and how Nolan North was he was in a lot of sitcoms in the early 90s,
right?
Late 80s, early 90s. Now he's just met all these cool people that a lot of other individuals would think are cool, but just complete dicks.
Right.
And so there's a lot of here's our experience. How do you react to it? And the crowd reacted it fairly well. And having seen 2 of their live shows in 2018, 2019, these guys put on a fucking show. They are performers. And obviously Troy Baker, he does his music, which dude can sing.
Yeah.
Dude's got a hell of a good country voice, and he can play guitar and stuff as well. All the guitar work that you hear if you play The Last of Us, that's him playing guitar. There's a point where Joel even sings. That's Troy Baker singing. And Nolan North has done stand up for years, so he's got that quick fucking razor wit about him. And so the Thanksgiving episode, why it's my favourite is because they drop some kind of harsh lessons on you. That's where I heard the phrase that don't be ashamed of, cutting loose your friends. I was like, okay. That doesn't, and it wasn't the sense of like, oh, they've said it has to be true. I was like, oh no, that makes sense. Like, why am I, feeling a bit shaky about cutting some friends off? And there's just some genuinely funny moments about them talking about why is it in America they celebrate having no food by having too much food for Thanksgiving. I always wanted to go to America during Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving sometimes happens on my birthday, so I just wanted to be greeted by a giant turkey dinner on my birthday.
Right.
Or we need ham because ham's just
the only problem is that you would have nothing on. Like Thanksgiving shuts down America.
Yeah.
It is one of those things where the entire nation just takes 5 minutes, sits down, eats a nice turkey dinner, and then you go murder each other over some cheap TVs the next day.
Yeah. Although Black Friday is bleeding its way into Scotland. A woman got her arm broken trying to get a Switch for her grandkid.
Nah.
And I think it was in Glasgow. They were going to a Smith's toy shop or something.
Okay, that's Glasgow. That's a different thing.
Glasgow's nicer than Edinburgh. Edinburgh's a shit show. Fucking hate Edinburgh. Get it, Ringy.
So yeah, that has been 2019.
Yeah.
It was okay. I mean, I think it depends who you surrounded yourself with. If you had a close-knit group of friends, you had a good year.
Yeah.
If you had a bunch of tools hanging around you, probably weighed you down a bit. Yeah.
Personally, that perfectly describes my 2019. Because I had the worst summer I've ever had. I realised that I probably should be getting some kind of help with anxiety because just over the summer, because I had no job, I sent 70 applications out, got nothing back. I was fucking losing my mind. If it wasn't for the podcast where I got to vent a little bit and I was playing rugby, I mean, I broke somebody's rib playing rugby because I was just that frustrated. I went through a guy.
Yeah.
So I just had to work it out, and then I realised I kind of need help with this.
Yeah.
And that's when I started talking to people more, and that's when I kind of realised that if I was talking to certain people, I was like, oh, you don't give a shit, and that was the start of that conversation with those people. I was like, you say I can come and talk to you about anything, but I can't really because I tried to and then nothing happened. So yeah, 2019 was a bit rough. There were some really good moments in there, some really high highs, but fucking devastating lows for me.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see the back of it. Hopefully 2020 is a bit more cheerful. Hopefully shit is on the up and up for me.
Yeah, I think the year is what you make of it. And I think the most important thing you can do as we start 2020 is take every lesson you learned from 2019 and don't forget it.
Yeah, write that shit down.
Yeah.
Fucking snowman.
Right, so these two snowmen are going to sign off and we will be back at you very soon with an actual episode of Gibberpish. Have a nice 2020. Hope you had a decent 2019.
Happy New Year and all that shit.
Nah.
Incidentally, if it's February and you're saying Happy New Year, go fuck yourself.